the press box atop Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents NCAA Division II women's soccer coverage live on the ECC network. Today's matchup features the Red Hawks of Roberts Wesleyan College taking on the College of Staten Island. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Foreman, joined by John Carl Ziegler for the first time this season, bringing you all of the action during today's game. And JC, we're not quite in the afternoon hours yet. It's 11 a.m. Too used to opening our 3 p.m. doubleheaders, or potentially a later start than this 11 a.m. game. This doubleheader was originally scheduled for today to be a men's soccer game following the women's soccer game, but it will just be the women today on the ECC network. The Dolphins come in at 2-7, recently snapped a 5-game losing streak on Wednesday with a 2-0 victory against Lincoln University.
Just an FYI, my Nespresso machine was cranked up early this morning, and I am fully caffeinated for today's game. What can you say about the victory on Wednesday? Mersada Pelankovic and Jenna Como, their fingerprints all over the 2-0 victory against Lincoln. They were both goal scorers. And Pelankovic, the Dolphins' leading goal scorer in 2019, so we're certainly accustomed to seeing her put the ball into the back of the net. She scored 6 times in 2019 to go along with 5 assists. She was tied with a pair of other Dolphins, Amber Mitchell and Samantha Laval, for the lead in goals during the Dolphins' last full season in 2019. As for the Red Hawks of Roberts Wesleyan College, they come in 0-7-1. This matchup with the Dolphins is their 4th consecutive matchup in the East Coast Conference. They will be looking for their first win in conference and their first win overall entering today's match. They've been struggling for goals all season, 2 goals in 8 games. The last time they scored a goal, you have to venture all the way back to September the 9th. The last goal scored in a 1-1 tie against Malone U.
And for the Dolphins, one of their big issues heading into that matchup on Wednesday with the Lions was that they weren't getting many scoring chances in games. But that certainly changed for them against Lincoln University in their last match. The Dolphins with 19 shots overall, 13 on goal. You mentioned the goals by Como and Pelankovic in that match. And for the Dolphins, you really have to like the turnaround you saw in their last outing against Lincoln University.
Most definitely. You look in the prior 4 games, they were shut out in all 4 of those games. But since then, they've registered 2 goals in back-to-back contests. That's a recipe for success, and let's see if they can duplicate that again this morning.
And taking a look down the schedule of the Red Hawks, they have now lost 5 consecutive matches. So just like the Dolphins did on Wednesday, Roberts Wesleyan will be looking to snap a 5-game losing streak of their own. However, despite the 0-7-1 mark, a lot of close matches, especially early in the season. A 1-goal loss to open the season, a 2-1 loss in double overtime in Game 2, a 1-1 tie in Game 3, and a 1-0 loss in Game 4. Their last 4 defeats have been by multiple goals, but this Red Hawks team has shown the ability to stay close on the scoreboard, and they'll hope to do that here against the Dolphins today.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, sometimes the margin of error is so slight. A goal here, a goal there, a break here, a break there. Let's see if they can get on the scoreboard early, or at least on the scoreboard at all this game.
And you mentioned it before, JC. Roberts Wesleyan, only 2 goals on the season, but on top of that, they have allowed opponents to score 17 times this season against them. So that's something they'll certainly like to see improved upon moving forward. Only 2 goal scorers for Roberts Wesleyan coming in. Those goals belong to Olivia Grande and Mackenzie Moyo, and they hope to see more goals scored moving forward this season. As I mentioned, for the Dolphins, 6 different goal scorers. They added 2 more to that in their last match, with Como and Pelankovic finding the back of the net. The rest of the goal scorers for the College of Staten Island are as follows. We saw Emily Albano score on a bicycle kick against Felician. Nadia Evola with the game winner in that match. And then Donnie Duca and Jacqueline D'Amico added goals against Queens College last Saturday. So the Dolphins getting goals from a lot of different places. This Red Hawks team hoping to find offense from a bit more players in their lineup.
Most definitely. When you look at a team, you have your upper echelon scores, and then you have your secondary scores. And in order to be successful on a game-by-game basis, you need everyone gelling and firing on all cylinders. And when your top scorers aren't necessarily scoring goals, that's when your secondary and tertiary players have to step in and put balls in the back of the net.
And the Dolphins have displayed that depth. Head coach Brendan Guzman certainly likes to see that from his team. With the national anthem about to be played, we'll step aside and take a quick break. And we are back here on the ECC Network. Joe Foreman joined by John Carl Ziegler for this matchup between the College of Staten Island and Roberts Wesleyan College, an East Coast Conference battle between these two teams. And JC, you have the starting lineups for the two teams in this match, beginning first with the visiting Red Hawks.
Indeed. Let's get the ball rolling. No pun intended, of course. We'll start with the goalkeeper, Nicolette Knopf, number 1. Number 3, Olivia Grande. Number 4, Abigail Sindoni. Number 5, Mackenzie Moyo, one of their goal scorers. Number 6, Justine Sharda. Number 7, Maya Levine. Number 14, Haley Cole. Number 20, Morgan Rosano. Number 21, Sydney Regan. Number 25, Gabrielle Ciambella. And number 34, Erin Faso to round up the lineup for the road team.
And for the College of Staten Island, in numerical order, in goal will be 00, Sarah Villacrest. The rest of the Dolphin starters are as follows. Number 2, Jacqueline D'Amico. Number 4, Emily Albano. Number 5, Macy Jones-Bush. Number 6, Colleen Rodriguez. Number 10, Donnie Duca. Number 12, Bettine Voigt-Penson. Number 17, Angie Galan. Number 19, Jenna Como. Number 24, Mersada Palinkovic. And number 27, Megan Marr. And taking a look at the Dolphins' kits today, they'll be wearing the all-white home kit with blue numbers. And for Roberts Wesleyan, they will be wearing red kits with their shirts having a black stripe along the side and a white stripe, vertical stripe, down the middle of their shorts. And taking a look at their keeper's kit, a very similar shirt and shorts to what the College of Staten Island typically wears here at home sometimes as well, a Columbia blue kit with black numbers. So both teams taking the pitch as we get set to get underway from Dolphin Soccer Park. JC, what are some of the things you're looking for from today's match? Maybe some expectations.
Well, I will say this. You certainly are the fashionista. Look at you describing all of their ensembles right before kickoff. But I'm looking for CSI to push the tempo early. Like we mentioned in the open, 2 goals each in each of the last 2 games. I look for them to try and put one in the back of the net early.
Well, JC, that compliment means a lot coming from you. You showed up in a suit here this morning. It is pushing 70 degrees outside. You've since lost the jacket, but I think the fashionista between the two of us up here in the booth is certainly you. And you mentioned earlier you had the espresso machine working this morning. I'm more of a sugar guy, so I'm waiting for my post-game Slurpee to perhaps wake me up after today's early start. But hopefully an exciting match will do just that.
Oh, most definitely. And we'll get you a Frappuccino. We'll put some sugar in there, and we're off.
And we are underway from Dolphin Soccer Park, and the Dolphins will be on the attack first. Como sends one toward goal, and we have our first shot of the match just 8 seconds in.
And that didn't take long. Jenna Como, one of the linchpins in Wednesday's game, and she has a shot on goal already, wasting little time.
Wasting no more than the first 7 seconds was Como, who, following her first touch, put a shot on goal for the College of Staten Island. And the Dolphins registering the first shot of the match very early on as the two teams fight for possession in the midfield.
Yeah, you know, when you're shut out 4 times in a row, you know, your confidence is definitely waning. And when you can put together back-to-back efforts where you pot 2 goals in each contest, that certainly raises the bar for the team. And they want to, you know, exceed some of those expectations from the previous games, maybe get 3 goals.
And that's a great point, JC, as the Dolphins' attacking play seems to have turned around over the course of the last 2 matches. The first last Saturday against Queens, and then on Wednesday against Lincoln, scoring a pair of goals in each of those matches, as you mentioned during the pregame.
Yeah, sometimes all you need is a spark. It can be very minuscule, but if you can build on that spark, it's like a domino effect. It's contagious among the team, and thus far it looks like that as they are pushing the tempo, searching for their first goal.
They certainly have, and you mentioned how contagious that strong attacking play can be, and we've seen that on the stat sheet for the College of Staten Island, as I spoke about. 6 different goal scorers now for the College of Staten Island at about the midway point of this season, as Palinkovic tumbles over the near sideline and bit slow to get up after that challenge. It's a throw-in for Roberts Wesleyan.
Yeah, we have equipment flying all over the place down there, but everything appears to be in one piece.
And it looks like we'll have our first foul of the game as the whistle blows. It will be a Dolphins free kick to be taken by Pelinkovic.
Yeah, Pelinkovic, she was one of the goal scorers on Wednesday. Look at that, a little extra skip in her step. She's very well aware that her team has 4 goals in the last 2 contests.
Dolphins working the ball across their back line. It's Jones-Bush who received it from her keeper, Villacrest, and she's challenged in the midfield and will give it up to D'Amico. D'Amico for Pelinkovic, who makes a run toward the far sideline. She gets there, but can't keep it in play.
Yeah, just off the side of her foot there as it goes out of bounds. And as you mentioned, the broadcaster's dream, if you will, our jersey is very easy to tell on the roadside. It's number 34 throwing it in.
I'm not sure if you heard me in the next room over during our last broadcast, JC, but I was not happy with the uniforms being worn by the visitors. Unable to see the numbers on either the front or the back. Those Lincoln uniforms were really tough to read.
Yeah, you can only hope and pray when you show up on the day of a game that the jerseys are not going to be ambiguous, and you can see the numbers clearly. Otherwise, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, these teams seem to be very keen about putting vertical stripes on their shirts, and when those intersect with the number, it makes it a very tough read on occasion, especially with how far we are positioned from the pitch, about 50 feet up and maybe 20 to 30 feet back from the sidelines, as now the Redhawks looking for their first attacking play of the match, and they will take it down into the corner. That is Reagan. Reagan gives it up to CM Bella, and the flag went up for offsides.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that they are flustered by that early flurry by CSI. It looks like they're getting their offensive game in gear as well.
That's D'Amico with it at the top of the box, and she gives it up to Jones-Bush. Dolphins now have it in the midfield. That was Voigt Penson who met a challenge but maintained possession. She now crosses midfield toward the attacking third. Her ball intended for Rodriguez was knocked away, and the Dolphins will reset from just outside the midfield circle.
A very quick ball movement by CSI. They're sharing the wealth, and they're getting these real precision passes on as there's a turnover right there. But their passing game early, very impressive.
That was Como who saw that ball knocked down, and Redhawks look to take possession in the back, and they do. That's Moyo, met by D'Amico, and D'Amico wins possession back for CSI. Albano's ball is knocked away by Rosano, and it is over the far sideline for a Dolphins throw.
Yeah, Moyo definitely the one to watch on this Redhawks team. Only 2 goals on the season for the club, but she's got one of them, and she can definitely pot one if she gets a good foot on the ball.
She's also only one of a few Redhawks who have played in and started every match. Sydney Reagan, Moyo, and Gabrielle Ciambella with that distinction.
The Iron Women,
Wesleyan team.
The Iron Women of Rochester.
Pelinkovic has ditched the headband as that was left with the bench, and that ball is headed back toward midfield where Como was the first to it for CSI. Redhawks come away with possession.
You can see both teams opening it up a little bit. Both teams, don't have a lot of goals scored cumulatively this season, but you can see both teams have opened it up. A lot of chances being exchanged early. Not a lot of shots on goal, though.
We had one 8 seconds in and nothing since as Roberts Wesleyan looks to take it across midfield. Nice move there by Reagan to beat her marker. And she finds Sindoni. Sindoni right to the dot with the cross, but waiting for it was Albano. She let it roll, did not have a teammate with her along the far sideline, but that's quite all right as the Dolphins will earn a throw.
Yeah, they'll reset it and try to get that elusive first goal. We're about 12 minutes into this morning's contest.
That's Jones-Bush for Marr, and Marr sends it out toward midfield for Voigt Penson. Intercepting is Roberts Wesleyan, but it winds up back with the Dolphins defenders. That's D'Amico to Marr. Marr up to Como, who redirects for D'Amico. D'Amico for Voigt Penson. Short, quick passing once again by the Dolphins, JC.
Yeah, great minds think alike. You beat me to the punch there. The short, quick passes. Let's see if it results in something here.
Too much on that pass as that ball was out in front of D'Amico, but the Dolphins really seem to have something going there.
Yeah, too much mustard, too much ketchup. I guess it's your preference of condiments, which one you'd like to use in that sense.
Well, those who have watched our broadcasts in the past and seen my habits eating pretzels know that there is no such thing as too much mustard. And you'll get a look at our hot pretzels ahead of basketball season, they're typically a staple of the commentary desk on the sideline.
Well, it's imperative, especially on days like these where the sun is shining in. You need your carbohydrates. Whether they're complex or simple is another story.
Yeah, we won't get too technical with it. I don't discriminate with my carbohydrates.
As long as you get your caloric intake in for the day, it's all good.
That's right. Fuel for the gym later as the Dolphins look to gain possession back in the midfield. The two teams exchanging possessions as that one takes an awkward roll right at the midfield stripe and over the far sideline. Dolphins throw taken quickly and headed away by the Red Hawks.
Yeah, tempo has slowed down a little bit in the last couple of minutes. It's developing into more of a chess match at this juncture. And let's see if either team can put a shot on goal or two and, rise the tempo up once again like when we started.
A lot of play in the midfield in the early goings as we are now 8 minutes into the first half of this East Coast Conference matchup. The Dolphins looking to level their conference record at 2-2. And as we mentioned during the pregame, Roberts Wesleyan comes in search of their first victory of the season.
Yeah, it's been a very rough go for them. The 5-game losing streak outscored 13-0 in those contests. And as we mentioned, seeking their first goal in nearly a month. September the 9th was the last time they registered a score.
They hope to change that here with an attacking play getting set up, but that ball is over the head of Marr, and there was an opportunity for Ciambella to turn with it, but it's quickly knocked away. Red Hawks will look to attack once again as that one is sent toward goal, and I think that will go down as the first Roberts Wesleyan shot on goal, but it wasn't a strong attempt from that distance to a lot of traffic by Sidney Reagan.
You know what they say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I just think it takes something that small to get them going in the right direction. Maybe they can pot another one, maybe some shots on target, and perhaps that'll translate in their first goal in a while.
Seeing a bit more play to the right of midfield over the last couple of minutes with the Red Hawks trying to mount an early threat. The Dolphins have done a good job shutting down those chances when they've arisen. And now it's Jones-Bush moving out toward midfield with some speed. She navigates through one marker, and her pass attempt was knocked down by Levine and over the far sideline for another CSI throw.
Yeah, we'll see if they can generate some offense here. They're in opponent's territory. Maybe a few more of those one-touch passes that we saw at midfield.
Across, straight to the top of the box. Rodriguez was there waiting, but a good job by Roberts Wesleyan to clear that out of danger. Dolphins moving into the attacking third once again. D'Amico looking for Duca, and once again, the Red Hawks all over that pass attempt.
Yeah, the turnover there in the neutral zone, but I like what CSI is doing right here. Again, pushing the tempo, and I think the confidence is showing. They know that they have the ability to put balls in the net, and I think they're going to put at least one, if not two, in this morning.
Well, I've spoken about it during men's soccer broadcasts with the transition into Division II. This now provisional year 3. These teams, both the men's and women's soccer teams from the College of Staten Island, are facing the toughest competition these programs have ever seen. And the last 2 matches, the Dolphins have certainly been up to the task, and they look to be, at the very least, evenly matched with this Red Hawks team through the first 10 minutes as they break up what could have been a dangerous attacking play right there.
Yeah, and like you said, the competition is more fierce. The ability to be able to go toe-to-toe with these teams is paramount, and that just raises the bar and the confidence levels of these young ladies.
And not only are they facing the toughest competition in program history, but they are doing so under the leadership of a brand new head coach in Brendan Guzman, who took over shortly before the season got underway. And he's been happy with what he's seen from his team through the first now about 5 weeks of the season. And he knows how difficult it is to ask so much of a team that he's hardly familiar with, or at least was hardly familiar with, stepping into a brand new role so soon before the season began. But he's very pleased with the effort he's gotten from his team. Yeah,
regardless of any facet in life, whether it's sports or getting acclimated to a new workplace, sometimes there are some growing pains, and it may take weeks, if not months, to get out all the kinks.
Dolphins possess it in their own zone. Villacrest wanted Marr to switch play over to the far sideline, telling her backer to open things up a bit. Still pointing over towards Macy Jones-Bush, but instead, Marr feeds Rodriguez, who has her pass for Duca intercepted at midfield.
Yeah, I always loved when the goalkeepers, whether it's hockey or soccer, get involved in the play. try and possibly set up an assist or get the play going in the other direction.
Well, you will see throughout today's match, if our last broadcast was any indication, JC, that Villacrest is very vocal in between the pipes. She certainly makes her frustration known and tries to direct traffic a bit when the ball finds her along the goal line. And we heard it right there as she was urging Marr to switch play over towards Jones Bush along the far sideline.
You know, your goalkeeper, sometimes your strikers are your leaders, but you can tell right now that she, indeed, the goalkeeper, she is the heart and soul of this team, and she's not afraid to shout out direction and be the field general on the field.
She may have some work upcoming right here as the Redhawks throw in deep in the attacking third. That throw is taken into the box and headed up in the air by Reagan. Cleared away by Pelinkovic out across midfield, and waiting for it is Moyo.
Yeah, both teams with a shot on goal, seeking their second. And I got to tell you, I think CSI's, you watch, it's going to come soon. Based on the last two games, I have confidence in them putting in a ball this half.
The Dolphins with a pair of first-half goals against Lincoln, and that was all they needed against the Lions, but many more opportunities in the second half as well. That margin of victory, only 2 in that game against Lincoln, certainly could have been far more.
Well, that's something that you have to keep pressing. You can't sit on your laurels and think a 2-goal lead is going to hold up. In soccer, typically it will. But the idea that they did not rest on their laurels, they went for more goals, they created more opportunities, that's important moving forward, especially when they go on the road thus far, or 0-4 on the road.
For me personally, I've always viewed 3 goals as that magic number where you can make a mistake, but you can still afford after that to make one more. And being in a position like that is always a very favorable and advantageous position to be in for a team, especially defensively, where one miscue in a 2-goal game, and all of a sudden you're one mistake away from being tied up on the scoreboard. But the Dolphins dominant on the stat sheet in that matchup against Lincoln. We mentioned it during the pregame, 19 shots to none in that match. So CSI was firmly in control on Wednesday.
Most definitely. And again, to your point about, transitioning from having a 3-0 lead to a 3-1 versus 2-0 to 2-1, it's a world of difference. Your psyche changes, your confidence, depending on what side of the ball you're on. If you're the team that gets that first goal, you're like, okay, now we're 1 away from tying it. And depending on how much time's left on the clock, that dictates, a lot, especially on a soccer field.
And to my point, JC, I'm not sure if you recall as you were working at the other end of the booth, but in that match, the Lions had an empty net opportunity. The ball trickled in front. Dolphins goalkeeper Sarah Villacrest overran the ball, and one of the attackers for Lincoln got a foot on it, point-blank range with the net empty, but the Dolphins' back line came in just enough to disrupt that attacking play, and that potential shot never happened. And that would have been the lone shot on the game for Lincoln, potentially the lone goal, but it was not to be as the Dolphins recovered in time. And a miscue like that oftentimes can be the difference up on the scoreboard.
Sometimes, we venture back to the old saying, it's better to be lucky than good. I think sometimes the soccer gods look on with a smile on their face, and CSI was definitely in a fortuitous place on Wednesday.
They were blessed on that play, to put it mildly, as the net was completely empty, and the attacker for Lincoln had a foot on the ball within about 2 feet of the goal line, but no shot attempted, thanks in large part to the pursuing Dolphins defense. As right there, we had a very dangerous play for Villacrest as the Redhawks were pressing the Dolphins goalkeeper, nearly intercepting.
They were. And sometimes, going back to your last point, when you have a wide open net, sometimes you get in your own head. Do I have enough time? Do I want to kick it with my left foot, my right foot? Do I want to put it up top, down low? If you think too much, time's going to run out and the defense is going to catch up with you.
It's amazing the amount of thoughts that can go through someone's head in such a short period of time, as there's a good ball from Jones Bush. Here comes Galan. Galan perhaps looking to cross, and that certainly isn't what she was looking to do, as she shanked that one over the touchline for a Redhawks goal kick, and we will have our first substitution of the match.
For your CSI Dolphins, number 8, Natalie Evola.
Evola comes in now for the Lady Dolphins. And we saw a 3-on-2 breakdown there, but an odd woman rush, if you will, coming down on the left end, going from right to left on the field.
Well, Thanks for passing along that substitution, JC. But John, our PA announcer, might have had you covered as a booming announcement of the Dolphins substitution from the room to our left.
You know, I will say this. He's a young man, and he's got a bright future in this business. I could say that he's good or great, but I believe that there are adjectives that surpass those two that fit the billing for his performance thus far.
Certainly a natural talent on the microphone, providing our public address here during today's match. And I've been tempted to say this afternoon so many times already, and I think the temperature is the reason why, JC.
Oh, yes. And just to go back to the adjectives, I think Fernando Lamas would be proud that I'm using the word marvelous, because he is marvelous.
Certainly is, and only his second match on the job working as public address. And we hope to have him working our games for the foreseeable future and through basketball season as well, as Jones-Bush looked to interrupt that attacking play, trying to shoulder the attacker off the ball, and she does just that. As Sydney Reagan was challenged by Jones-Bush, collision over the ball, no whistle.
You want to talk about turning on the afterburners. Jones-Bush just got back into that play and nullified that scoring chance. That's great hustle by her.
Abigail Sindoni was whistled for the foul as she and Jones-Bush collided over the ball. Initially, there was no whistle, and Jones-Bush has been right in the middle of many physical plays so far this year. She has already been issued 4 yellow cards on the season.
Yeah, she's not afraid to flex her muscles out there, and sometimes you need a little bit of an aggressive edge on the field.
She is certainly providing that in the back for the Dolphins, and you would have to assume that's a reason why she has earned the start now in each of the last 2 matches, potentially 3.
Well, it's like when you said, you go into Division II, tougher opponents. You can't be pushed around. You have to assert yourself, and she's definitely done that, and it's rubbed off on her team.
Attacking opportunity for CSI here is broken up in the back by Roberts Wesleyan. That ball sent out to midfield, and now here comes Sindoni. Sindoni one-on-one against Villacrest. She chips it past the Dolphins keeper and wide, but I think Villacrest got a piece. She did, and it will be a corner kick for the Red Hawks.
And that's a big save right there, because if that's their first goal in a month, that team and that sideline, they're going to be jumping for joy. You do not want to give them any momentum as we're about 20 or so minutes into the first half.
And what a ball to set up Sindoni. It split the back line of CSI and sprung Sindoni forward on the attack. I'm going to try and get a look at it on video replay on my laptop and see who it was that sent that ball up ahead to Sindoni. But it was a great ball that nearly gave the Red Hawks a lead about 20 minutes into the first half.
Indeed, what a pass. Surgical precision.
And a corner kick sets up a header in front. That ball trickles toward the perimeter of the box, and it falls onto the foot of Colleen Rodriguez, who clears.
And there's a turnover out in the middle.
Here comes Como. She's being challenged by Ciambella. Sends it back to Marr, and now over to Jones-Bush.
Notice Jones-Bush reaches the center line there that kind of backed up a little bit. I think they're aware of her physical presence.
Hard to miss it if you've watched any of CSI game film, and you'll often see something like that brought up in the typical pregame preparation, as now Roberts Wesleyan looking to move into the attacking third again, but nobody home on that pass as Pelinkovic tracks it down.
As the rest of this half unwinds, I'm going to look for CSI to tighten things up a little in the defensive zone. They've had a few opportunities, the Red Hawks, to try and get their first goal, and I think that's definitely what they want to do, and the coaching staff want to emphasize, is to kind of be a little bit more alert in the defensive end.
And we apologize as our camera has shifted in and out of demo mode throughout this first half. Here comes Albano on the wing, crosses it in front for Evola. Nadia goes down, and the Red Hawks will allow it to roll into the arms of their goalkeeper, Nicolette Knopf.
Yeah, no call there, but it appeared to be a clean play as CSI gets their first really high-quality scoring chance in a little bit.
Once again, on the topic of our camera, I do apologize as I'm taking a look at our video feed. It is shifting in and out of demo mode. We'll look to get that taken care of during the halftime break as we have the first Red Hawks substitution of the match. It will be Jessica Savage coming on, and it appears as if Olivia Grande will be coming off the pitch. If that is indeed number 3, it is.
And you were all over that one. Once again, the numbers on the jerseys, very clear, especially from up here. And my vision's not too great to begin with, but you can definitely see that was number 3 coming off the field.
Well, if I'm saying that the numbers are easily visible, they likely are, as I'm someone who can't even look at a white surface without squinting because of the reflection created by the sunlight. And it's a good thing we're not working any matches out here with any snow anywhere around the field, or it might be tough for me to read those numbers.
Imagine that, snow.
Yeah, sometimes the weather here at the College of Staten Island can shock me, and we've seen that especially during baseball and softball season where we have had snowouts in the past.
At weird times of the year, too, because if I remember correctly, we had some, I don't want to call them snowstorms, but we've had some snow in October in the last couple of years, maybe 2018, 2019, where we got a few inches.
And we can certainly do without that. It's a beautiful day here at the College of Staten Island. There's another great ball from Jones-Bush up toward Rodriguez, and a good job defensively by the Redhawks to cut off Rodriguez and shut down that attacking play.
You know, we mentioned the 2 goal scorers on Wednesday, Como and Pelinkovic. I'm telling you right now, we have a third member of this lady squad asserting herself, and that is Jones-Bush, number 5, one of the MVPs for the Dolphins in this first half.
And on the play there defensively for Roberts Wesleyan, it was Erin Fazo shutting down the attacking play of CSI and cutting off Rodriguez on her path to that ball. And now Roberts Wesleyan on the attack. That's Sindoni, who had the best opportunity of this match so far. And D'Amico sends it over the near sideline for Redhawks throw-in.
And despite being winless on the season, give credit where credit is due. They allowed a shot to CSI about, I think you said, 8 seconds into the game. They've held them without a shot on goal since, and since then they've registered 2 of their own.
And as I said, their opportunity was the highest quality chance of this match by far, off the foot of Sindoni and saved by Villacres. That ball sent into the box, and Albano met Ciambella over it and allowed the rest of her fellow backliners to clear it out of danger as Galan looking for Como and has her pass intercepted. Here come the Redhawks once again.
They definitely want to tidy things up because they're turning it over one too many times in the neutral zone.
That was Savage with what I believe was her first touch of the match, and she's whistled for the foul. Free kick for Staten Island.
And they'll reset and try to things going in a positive direction.
Jones-Bush lined up to take the free kick, and we saw her ability to put a ball on target with that last pass up the pitch to Rodriguez. Instead goes short here as Marr finds Rodriguez, who turns toward midfield. She was looking for Como. Once again, the CSI pass intercepted.
An emerging star, perhaps, and hopefully so. She's looked great in this first half.
Sindoni fires on goal once again, and she makes another bid for her first of the season.
Yeah, 3 shots on goal now with about 19 and change to go in the first half. They're seeking their first goal, like we mentioned ad nauseum for a while, but it seems like they're going to get it sooner or later with opportunities like that.
Redhawks have certainly been knocking on the door these last few minutes. The Dolphins really need to tighten up defensively as there have been openings and shooting lanes. And, of course, that one-on-one opportunity with Villacres for Sindoni as Pelinkovic wins the ball for CSI. Marr finds Albano, and her pass off the foot of D'Amico. And once again, Sindoni was moving in. She finds Reagan. Reagan looks to cross. It's blocked by Marr, and it rolls over the near sideline for a Redhawks throw.
Yeah, Sindoni was slowed down, then a block out of bounds. Could have potentially saved another scoring chance deep in the box.
Throw-in for Roberts Wesleyan as we tick down inside of 19 minutes to play in the first half. And that one sent straight up into the air by Moyo, allowing CSI to clear. Redhawks enter the attacking third, and that is shut down immediately by Albano and Jones-Bush. Ball with Roberts Wesleyan in the midfield.
Play has definitely turned around and going their way. It's tilted in CSI's, well, in their direction, but looks like they are coming on strong. And like I said, they're feverishly trying to get that first goal.
You mentioned your familiarity with hockey terminology, JC, and I actually said it during our last broadcast. It seems as if the pitch is tilted, And right now, it is certainly tilted toward the goal of Staten Island with Roberts Wesleyan controlling possession these last few minutes.
You don't know how close I was to saying the ice is tilted.
It's a good thing that I jumped in then.
Yes.
As that one is sent toward goal, but
Perhaps a Monster Energy drink is in your future.
yeah, I think a halftime Slurpee is in my future, but we're going to have to send someone to a nearby 7-Eleven and have them bring it back for me.
Not too far away, I presume.
Nope, right on the corner of Richmond Avenue and Victory Boulevard. You could walk it from the front entrance, but you wouldn't make it back in time for the end of this match, and that's certainly a finish you won't want to miss.
No, and I'd probably request a Tim Hortons or a Dunkin' myself.
Tim Hortons is across the street, JC.
Oh, this is marvelous.
Spoken like a true hockey fan. Tim Hortons.
Oh, yes. North of the border, they are popular. And when they built one here on Staten Island, I was surprised and happy at the same time.
Well, I will tell you, a couple of years back, that was one of our sponsors. And jokingly, former colleague David Pizzuto would always tell me, don't give the free advertisements on the air. And Tim Hortons once a paid sponsor, but I typically advertise a lot of fast food and Slurpees. So I may have to lay off my snacking preferences just a bit.
Well, if you're in the gym religiously, I think you'll be fine.
And I am, and I think the same can be said for the entirety of our booth here at the commentary desk. So not a room you'd want to mess with.
No, I think that we definitely possess some pizzazz and some toughness, just like some of these young ladies on the field.
And some flair with our fashion sense as well. As back to the action as that one sent to the back line of CSI. Jonesbush waiting for it. It's down onto her foot. And the Red Hawks now possess it in the attacking third. Once again, this is Sindoni who fires one on goal, and she beats the diving Villacrest inside of the near post. And we said it, JC, the Red Hawks were knocking on the door these last few minutes, and unsurprisingly, it is Abigail Sindoni with her first of the season to put Roberts Wesleyan in front 1-0.
Her first of the season, their first goal since September 9th. The sidelines is jumping for joy. They know how long it's been since a goal. They've been pressing their fourth shot on goal of this half, and we still have 16 minutes to play, and they're up 1-0.
Two substitutions coming on as well. Number 12, Jordan Pullybank, was one of them. Pullyblank was joined by a second Red Hawk that I believe is positioned up near the far sideline in the midfield. I'm trying to get a look, and so are you, JC, but we'll have that in just a moment.
Well, that's just a testament once again to how terrible my vision is at times.
Thank you, John. It was Ciara Rudnick checking in along with Jordan Pullyblank.
I'm curious to see how they come out after scoring the first goal. Are they going to press some more? Are they going to drop back and play a little bit more defense? I certainly wouldn't, considering these girls can score goals. 2 in the last game against Lincoln. I'm looking for them to try to get that second goal. That 2-0 lead is definitely something that they want. And if they score that second goal, they'll equal their output on the season as a whole with 2.
Taking a look back to the Dolphins' win at home on September 8th. I believe they did trail in that game 1-0, if I'm not mistaken, before ultimately winning it in double overtime. So this team, no stranger to playing from behind, and they'll be forced to do so once again against Roberts Wesleyan here today. And they were ahead for a moment. They were not playing from behind in that match. They were ahead for about 2 or 3 minutes before the score was evened up against the Golden Falcons back on September 8th. But the Dolphins have been playing from behind on many occasions this year, and we'll see if their strategy here in today's match changes from some of those others where they ultimately stayed behind for the remainder of the match.
They'll try to draw some inspiration from the men's team who trailed, I believe it was 10 days ago, 1-0 at halftime to Bloomfield before they rattled off 2 unanswered goals to win it in the 105th minute. That game went to double overtime.
We've seen a pair of double overtime thrillers here at Dolphin Soccer Park this year, and Dolphins hoping to get this match even, as we did have a substitution for CSI as well. It was Ariel Solomon checking in. She replaced Donnie Duca. As Jonesbush will look to clear, instead finds the body of a Red Hawk, and that was the recently checked-in Rudnick.
Yeah, and she was downfield to the right. If a pass was able to, there's a foul right there. I'll let you take that.
No doubt about that one, as D'Amico grabbing the uniform and is shown the yellow card. And sometimes you just have to take a yellow card, and in a situation like that, with Sindoni looking to turn once again, that might have been the right play.
Most definitely. I mean, prior to that. I don't know if she didn't see it out of peripheral vision, but there was a player to her right. She could have gotten it there. Could have been another marquee scoring chance for the Red Hawks.
I think D'Amico certainly saw it, even if I didn't, and perhaps a wise play there by CSI. And D'Amico will take a position on the wall along with a pair of other Dolphins. Lined up over the ball is Moyo.
I always thought this was a dangerous formation here. A bounce here or a bounce there, and they decide to go with the pass.
That's Ciambella. Ciambella finds Reagan. Reagan working against Jones-Bush. Jones-Bush forcing Reagan to the sideline, and it will be a throw for Roberts Wesleyan as Reagan gives Jones-Bush an aggressive shove. Throwing off the head of Pelinkovic and over the near sideline. It will be another Red Hawks throw.
Yeah, kudos to our entire crew, especially the ball runners, too. I see them running around on the other side of the fence as that ball went out. But talk about burning calories on a day like this.
No doubt about it. And talk about a thankless job as that one's headed away. It rolls out onto the foot of Ciambella. And for a moment, Haley Cole had possession. The whistle blows, and Cole will be assessed the foul. Long ball once again off the foot of Jones-Bush. Evola is there. It is chipped over the keeper, off the post, and Solomon can't get a foot on it. The net was still empty. That one sent toward goal. It lands on the foot of Evola, and her shot is by Knopf and in. And the Dolphins have tied the score at 1-1.
A ton of chaos in front of the net, a post, and then it's put home. A scorching shot to tie the game at 1. Just what the doctor ordered. CSI is on the board, and they are not shy about shooting the ball. Their 5th goal in the last 2+ games.
And we talked about the Dolphins being accustomed to playing from behind. They will play from behind no more in this first half, at least until perhaps the Red Hawks can score another goal. But the Dolphins were not behind long, and with 12:30 to go in half number 1, the score is even at 1 per side, and we will have another Dolphin substitution coming on as Natalie Benitez replaces Bettine Voigt-Penson for Evola. She becomes the first Dolphin to register multiple goals this season.
It's not advantageous to play from behind. No one wants to play from behind. But sometimes you relax a little bit. Sometimes you press when you have the lead.
Dolphins wasting no time. As we said at JC, play seemed to be tilted in favor of Roberts Wesleyan, but the Dolphins come storming down the pitch off of another good long ball. That one set up Evola. She beat the keeper Knopf to the ball, was able to navigate around her, chip the ball over the Red Hawks keeper. It hit the post, and that rebound off the post set up a redirection in front by Ariel Solomon, and ultimately winds up on the foot of Evola, who is the goal scorer.
Yeah, credit to the entire offense not giving up once the ball hit the post. A golden scoring opportunity was met with another. They made no mistake about it, that's for sure.
On the attack now are the Red Hawks, but 2 Dolphins meeting Rudnick over the ball, and it's cleared over the far sideline for a Roberts Wesleyan throw.
They've been exchanging chances in the last 10 minutes or so. Shots are 4-2 in favor of the Red Hawks. And I think what we prognosticated early on, more of an offensive duel, I think is coming to the forefront.
Once again, stepping up the vocabulary game with some prognostication from the pregame show. I like it.
Yeah, I like my words. What can I say?
I've often been the same way here on the air, trying to find new ways to call the action. It's a throw-in for the Red Hawks.
And the thing is, it's never on purpose. It just comes out.
That's how it should be.
Yes.
As that's headed by Pelinkovic toward Como and redirected off the head of D'Amico back to Pelinkovic, who is looking to send it up the pitch along the near sideline. That ball, a good one, finds Benitez right on target. She plays it up ahead towards Evola and Como, who are both in pursuit for CSI. Now Benitez redirects that one rolling toward the touchline, and Knopf will keep it in play.
You want to talk about a goal breathing new life into a squad? Look no further than the CSI Lady Dolphins. They are doing just that as we approach 10 minutes to play in the half.
10:15 on the clock in half number one as the two teams exchange possessions in the midfield. That is Reagan working against Pelinkovic. She gets by her. Marr is waiting, and she sends one towards Sindoni, but Jones-Bush intercepts. And Jones-Bush is not shy about taking the ball from her backer position and crossing midfield with it, navigating through more than one challenge in the process.
Initiating contact if need be, even if she's on the receiving end of some contact. She's never phased, and she's got a great mentality and a nose for the ball.
Free kick, I should say, goal kick upcoming from Villacrest as the whistle blew. And that one sent out toward midfield, headed by Evola toward the near sideline, and waiting for it is Reagan.
Yeah, she kicked the tar out of that one all the way to midfield.
And the challenge by Pelinkovic sends Reagan down to the pitch, but she will throw in along the near sideline. Long throw in for Sindoni. She has a step on Marr, and she's able to beat her marker, sends one into the middle of the box, and that shot off the foot of Jessica Savage is well high.
It's like a one-woman band on that play to elude one defender right there to get the pass off, and the shot, despite it going high and wide, definitely a glorious scoring opportunity for the road team.
It's been an entertaining first half that has seen 6 shots on goal between the two sides, 4 for Roberts Wesleyan College and 2 for the College of Staten Island, each side finding the back of the net once, and we are even at 1.
I would love to sit down and have a 5-minute conversation for the individual who coined the term. Soccer can's not an offensive game.
Well, today has certainly been an exception to that declaration, and I'm not sure it's one I agree with nonetheless. As that one is sent over the head of Jones-Bush, but she knew that Rudnick was offsides as the lines judge had the flag up.
Just a little bit ahead of the play, and my goodness, if she was even with the defender, who knows? Could have been a 2-1 score going the other way. A little bit too quick there.
Jones-Bush for D'Amico, and back to Jones-Bush. Jones-Bush look to send it up the pitch once again, and it'll be a Dolphins throw in the midfield. Galan will take it. Throws towards Evola and Solomon. Now Albano sends it toward the box, and it's cleared away by the back line of the Red Hawks.
We might have a one-on-one situation developing here.
As two Dolphins working, and Sindoni once again with a shot on goal. This time Solomon couldn't bring it in. She makes the save, but off of the rebound, the Dolphins are forced to clear.
Great secondary effort by the defense to kick the ball out of harm's way and out of play. And that right there could have been the difference if another offensive player for the Red Hawks could have stepped in to take the shot.
And it will be Carly Tausch checking in, replacing the aforementioned Abigail Sindoni, who's been very busy on the attack so far for the Red Hawks.
5 shots on goal now. If I were to tell you that this team entered play today with only 2 goals on the season, you would have thought I'd be lying.
This has been a very evenly matched first half, a very entertaining first half. Now 7 shots on goal between the two sides, and it is Roberts Wesleyan to throw in here, so the Dolphins' substitutions at the scorers table at midfield will have to wait. Reagan will throw. And looking at the way she's positioned up against the fence, she might be looking to throw this one in long. Certainly is.
The medium throw.
Right to the perimeter of the box. That cross sent into the middle of the box where there are a pair of Red Hawks waiting. That shot attempted by CM Bella, And that does go down as a shot on goal. Might have ended up a bit wide if Villacrest is not there, but nonetheless, that's number 6 for Roberts Wesleyan.
It looked a bit wide, but we won't give them havoc if it does count as a shot on goal.
It will on the official stat sheet. Save number 5 for Villacrest, as that's headed away by Jones-Bush out toward midfield. 2 players meet at the ball, and coming away with it was Pulley Blank. And Galan able to dispossess Rudnick, who was in a threatening position, but that pass is intercepted by Cole. Here comes Cole. This is Tausch working against a pair of Dolphins, Albano, and Tausch wrestling over the ball. It will be a foul against Roberts Wesleyan and a free kick for Staten Island.
You have to give it to the Redhawks. Their initial opportunities have been thwarted, but they're not giving up. They're going after the loose balls. They're forcing turnovers just when CSI steals it initially. And I have to say, I've been very impressed with what I've seen, not so much on the defensive end, but offensively, I mean, we're seeing some fireworks in the early going.
Absolutely, as that one is headed down by Moyo, and she's able to send it out to midfield, where Savage was waiting, and her pass for Rudnick gets there, but possession taken back by the Dolphins. Good move by Jones-Bush to avoid the challenge. Marr for Como, and a nice turn by Como. Here come the Dolphins on the attack. Como for Evola. Evola is tripped up. Benitez trying to win possession back, and the Dolphins will have a free kick from, it looks like, maybe 1 yard outside of the box.
Did you see that pass from Jenna Como?
It was a great ball to set up Evola, and ultimately it looks like Evola will be the beneficiary of the free kick.
Like a world-class surgeon out of Grey's Anatomy.
A precision pass from Como, and now the Dolphins with an opportunity to perhaps extend their lead.
Yeah, this shot's going to be from in close. We see a wall developing in front of the goalkeeper. Let's see if the Lady Dolphins can take a 2-1 lead in this game.
And that one is blocked by the wall initially, or I should say immediately. The whistle blows, and
the clock will stop too.
The clock will absolutely stop as Stevie Lynn Diggory took that one right off the head.
Yeah, you don't mind taking it in the shins or in the stomach, but when it gets up north like that in the face, that's very dangerous. But kudos to the bravery of both sides putting their bodies in harm's way, especially in that tight.
Fortunately, after lying on the pitch, motionless for a few moments, she is to her feet and walking off under her own power alongside the trainer. So it appears as if, at the very least, she will be okay. Perhaps not okay to return, but fortunately able to walk off on her own power, and that's good to see, as there will be a substitution for Roberts Wesleyan. It will be Sydney Brew checking in. And
I know we're playing soccer here, but like a true warrior, a hockey player, if you will, she had a smile on her face as she left the field.
And I've said it before, during soccer broadcasts, we've seen players go down. Typically, this situation will occur after a foul is committed, but a player goes down, will lie on the pitch for a few moments, they'll get the whistle, then they'll spring to their feet with an ear-to-ear grin on their face after earning the foul call. But, of course, that is not one of those situations. That being said, it is not the first time I've seen a player leave the pitch smiling, or at least get up and walk away smiling following a potential injury.
Sometimes those battle scars, they show that you've been through the trenches, and I think we're going to see her back. If not in the last 2:44, at least sometime in the second half.
We certainly hope that's the case, as you never want to see someone's day end as the result of a potential injury. And right now, Solomon challenging. She was working against Cole. The Dolphins do come away with possession as Albano looks to play Evola ahead. That one is sent all the way back to the Dolphins keeper, Sarah Villacrest, and she's able to bring it in.
Looked like she had intentions of kicking that ball once again, but threw it to one of her teammates to try and take it upfield.
More nifty dribbling by Jones-Bush to avoid the marker, as that was Tausch pursuing her up the far sideline. Jones-Bush gets it back from Marr. Might be looking to go long with this ball yet again. She does. It's right on target for Evola, but getting there first was Moyo, and it's cleared away by the Red Hawks.
Moya, one of their goal scorers on the season. We haven't seen a lot of her, but I'm thinking that as this game progresses, she'll probably try to get a scoring chance or two. I think she'll get it. Needs to create some time and space. And she is, like I said, one of their 3 goal scorers on the season.
Well, in case our viewers did not hear the announcement from next door, Isabella Castro checks in alongside Shirley Hernandez for CSI, replacing CSI goal scorer Nadia Evola and captain Angie Galan. Galan, one of 3 captains, those 3 being the returning players, Pelinkovic, Galan, and Duca. And we'll have another foul call against Roberts Wesleyan.
Very curious to hear what the coaches are going to preach during halftime.
I think if you're Brendan Guzman and Staten Island, you would like to see a bit more play to the left of midfield. A lot of pressure on the Dolphins defensively in that first half. They forced goalkeeper Sarah Villacrest to make 5 saves. And that's not an exceptional amount by any means, but a lot of time spent in the attacking third by the Red Hawks. And the Dolphins did make the most of their 2 opportunities, registering a goal on only a pair of shots on goal in this first half. And we'll see if the scoring is done in half number 1 as the Red Hawks do move into the attacking third, but Albano with a strong challenge there to win a throw-in for CSI. And Albano was shoved down by Pulley Blank. Now, I think she may have lost her footing, but there was certainly some contact.
Most definitely was. And kudos to our goalkeeper. 6 saves in the first half, keeping this game tied at 1-1.
One huge save in front on a breakaway opportunity for Abigail Sindoni, and ultimately that save is the difference right now as the 2 sides are even at 1 goal apiece. So JC and I will take a break. When we come back, analysis of the first half, a look at some halftime stats, and a preview of half number 2. This is exclusive NCAA Division II women's soccer coverage. College of Staten Island taking on Roberts Wesleyan College here on the ECC Network. And we're back here on the ECC Network. Joe Foreman joined by John Carl Ziegler. And we are about set to start the second half from Dolphin Soccer Park. Our score even at 1 per side between the College of Staten Island and Roberts Wesleyan College. Pair of goals scored in the first half. 1 scored in the 29th minute by Abigail Sindoni, and another scored in the 33rd minute by Nadia Evola of CSI to even up the score. And JC, what did you see from the first half that may have surprised you, some things that met our expectations?
Well, I will say this. Abigail Sindoni, wow. 1 goal, 3 shots on goal. You want to talk about a new catalyst emerging on this Red Hawk offense. I look for more from her and potentially scoring a 2nd goal. Who would have thought they would score 2 goals in a game? They're in position to do so, as is CSI, as we have a 1-1 game as we enter the second half.
It was a strong offensive showing for both sides in the second half. The Dolphins with a pair of very threatening chances, only 1 resulting in a shot, but that second opportunity in front did result in a CSI goal, and that goal, as I mentioned, came in the 33rd minute. The second of the season for Nadia Evola. Her first was a game winner. This one a game-tying goal as the clock winds down inside of 18 seconds to go in half number 2. And before the second half gets underway, just some halftime stats. Shots for Roberts Wesleyan in half number 1, 7. The College of Staten Island with 3. Corners favored the Red Hawks 1-0. 5 saves made by Dolphins goalkeeper Sarah Villacrest. Only 1 needed to be made by goalkeeper for the Red Hawks, Nicolette Knopf. And 6 fouls went against Roberts Wesleyan. Only 1 against the College of Staten Island. And the physicality did pick up a bit as that half went on. We saw some shoving coming from the Red Hawks as they looked to impose their will physically over the College of Staten Island. But CSI certainly appeared up to the challenge.
Do not do that in the vicinity of a 1 Macy Jones-Bush. I look for her to be a force in this second half, along with Jenna Como, who scored on Wednesday and issued the first shot on goal of this game just 8 seconds in.
Well, you mentioned Jones-Bush as the Dolphins are emphatically welcomed back to the field by John, our PA announcer, and he's starting to show me up a bit. I'm not sure I ever welcomed the team back to the field.
He reminds me of someone who does not need an ounce of caffeine in his system. When his alarm clock goes up, he's just so enthusiastic that he creates his own enthusiasm. No caffeine necessary. It's probably for the better. He's still a young boy, 21 years of age.
I think he's invigorated when he picks up that microphone and is infused with a burst of energy. As it's hard to believe that this is the senior group here in this booth right now, all of us pushing our 30s or surpassing 30 already between myself, you, and Joe. And John, just 21, getting his first experience as public address announcer here at the College of Staten Island, doing a great job.
It appears I'm the elder statesman as my birthday is rapidly approaching. I'll be 35 on the 30th.
Yeah, I'm 28 with the most gray hair up in the booth by a wide margin. You're sporting the hairless look with the beard. I like it.
You know, I made a deal many years ago. I had the longer hair, the hockey flow, if you will, and I was a baby face, no facial hair, none whatsoever. But now it's the reverse. I am bald and I have a beard, and I'm loving every minute of it, and it makes it a lot easier, too, every morning.
It certainly makes it easier when the headset messes up your hairstyle, and I've decided to just keep it simple when I'm on the air, and I know I'll be broadcasting, and that has worked out well for me so far this season, especially up here in the booth where it is much cooler than it is down out on the pitch.
And just as you said that, we had our first breeze of the game, and it only took an hour and 2 minutes.
I will certainly take it, as we did open the window behind us during the halftime break. And the Red Hawks will open the second half with possession as they work it along their back line east to west, pass across midfield to Reagan. She is dispossessed by Albano and Galan. Galan sends it back to Jones-Bush, up to D'Amico, and back to Marr.
Yeah, as we mentioned, as the first half unwinded down in the final 2 minutes, I had mentioned about what the coaches' messages would be to their respective teams. I mean, if I'm the Red Hawks, just keep going. Been starved for goals all year. You got one. Push it. Try to get a second or a third.
Well, they had a distinct advantage in shots. 7-3 in the first half, and 6 of their 7 shots on goal. For the College of Staten Island, 2 of 3. But I did mention this during prior broadcasts as well. A lot of the shots the Dolphins have allowed have been on target, and many of them have been high-quality scoring chances as well. We've seen that here in today's match.
And our goaltender, Sarah Valacres. How do I pronounce that again? I don't want to screw that up. Villacres. It's always better to ask. Definitely better to ask.
Always better to ask. Even better to read the pronunciation guide provided by the visitors before a match. And I bring that point up because I was once taken by surprise on a substitution. It was a name that I won't even try and pronounce once again. It was during a basketball game, actually. One of my first basketball broadcasts, and I was completely tongue-tied when this man took the court. It was not a good look, and I became a meme around the office for a couple of weeks. But eventually they forget, and you apologize and move on.
You know, sometimes it helps when the opposing coaching staff says, just call him by his nickname, you're better off.
I always appreciate that, but we don't often get that courtesy, though many coaches will tell us, don't worry if you butcher the name. Fortunately, that hasn't been an issue so far this year, as far as I'm aware anyway. And Pelinkovic sends it back to Villacres, who works right along the touchline alongside goal. And now Pelinkovic moving forward. Her ball intercepted, headed up in the air, and waiting for it was Villacres.
One of the gentlemen on the coaching staff of D.C. on the men's side of things, when he was giving me his rosters, he said, this one over here, just call him Yanni. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm sure our new PA guy is going to have fun with that. So sometimes you just have to keep it simple.
Well, I did not take that advice during the match, as I did try and pronounce Yanni's last name. I'm not sure how I did. I believe it was something like Kiatsikolu, if the G was silent. That was pretty close at the very least, but hopefully I didn't displease Yanni too much with my pronunciation of his last name.
You know what they say, A for effort.
I certainly gave it my best effort, as now the Red Hawks being pressured and moving toward the touchline was Cole. I wasn't sure what she intended to do with that ball as she moved north to south, but she did send it out as Voight Penson has her shot blocked. The Dolphins now swarming around the ball. That's Galan, and Albano did not give chase. Instead, it's Como working along the near sideline. Levine lets it roll, and it will be a Dolphins throw.
You know, who am I to say what the right play is? But initially, I thought she was going to kick it out of play for a possible corner kick. And by not doing so, it created another marquee scoring chance for the Lady Dolphins.
Well, at the very least, I expected a clearance over the sideline, as you would think that she would not want to concede the corner if it was avoidable. But Cole was facing a lot of pressure from CSI forwards, and she tried to clear it out of the zone unsuccessfully as that one's redirected toward Duca and once again cleared away. Dolphins moving in this time. It's D'Amico into the attacking third once again. Rodriguez for D'Amico. D'Amico for Voight Penson. Voight Penson to Como. Great pass by Voight Penson. Split a pair of defenders. Failing to clear there was Ciambella. She chips it straight up in the air. D'Amico is waiting. Now Galan has it. Galan sends one toward the top of the box, and the fans didn't agree with the direction of that pass. As we have another collision, a whistle, and the foul came before that collision outside the midfield circle. D'Amico is down.
It was a great series of passing earlier, and one of the things I've always been enamored with as a youngster and in my adult years is the precision passing, setting up the goal scores. You know, a lot of people, they get the credit, well, this guy's got 30 goals, 50 goals, whatever. Sometimes those passers are crucial as well.
Seeing one pass ahead is a very underrated skill, a skill that's so important. And, you know, again, I don't know the most about what it takes to make those kind of passes, as I'm only making them on a TV screen with an Xbox controller in my hand, but you can see the entire field of play or the entire ice when you're playing a video game on TV. When you're out there on the pitch over the ball, you have to be scanning your surroundings and deciding where you're going to go with the ball before you receive it, or in the case of hockey, where you're going to go with the puck before you receive it. It is a skill that I can imagine is not easy to master, but one that these players out there on the pitch today seem to have down.
Most definitely, and I believe Jacqueline D'Amico, who's coming off right now, appears to be okay. She's hunched over on the sideline, down on both knees, but she's getting up. She appears to be okay as she enters the 10th. Hopefully she'll be checking in later on in this half.
And it looks like there will be a substitution, and it will be Nadia Evola.
So you were an Xbox guy? I was always a PlayStation guy.
I grew up a PlayStation guy and transitioned to becoming an Xbox guy once I reached high school with the release of Gears of War. As Voight Penson with a good free kick into the box. Evola is there. She is on sides, but was met quickly by a swarm of Redhawks, and Galan was shoved off the ball there by Levine. Throw-in for Roberts Wesleyan, now a second throw-in.
And you mentioned your passing prowess. Let's talk about the passing prowess you possess in this booth. Passing off softballs to me to answer or to make a remark or two. You're a great passer in here, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that as I'm trying to make your first broadcast as easy and enjoyable as possible. Once again, Sindoni charging down the pitch. She crosses toward the far post, but nobody is home as that one rolls over the far sideline.
Yeah, first scoring chance for the Redhawks in the second half. Everything appeared to be tilted in favor of the Dolphins until that last play. And we'll have a throw-in to the left of the goalkeeper.
Pelinkovic will throw, and it's a short toss over to Marr. This is Voight Penson back to Pelinkovic, and she sends one out toward the midfield circle. It dies in the wind as the Redhawks get a body on it first, but it's another Staten Island throw-in upcoming.
And trying to generate some offense here in a tie game. About 6 minutes or so elapsed in the first half. Shots on goal, 6-2 in favor of the road squad.
CSI looking to perhaps change that here on the attack, but it's quickly a turnover in the midfield. And once again, Sindoni charging, this time down the wing. She enters the box. She beats Rodriguez, is tripped up, and there is no foul called. As Sindoni went down, appeared to lose her footing after some very gentle contact from her marker.
And you can tell CSI paying very, very close attention to this young lady. She scored the only goal for the Redhawks, and she has 3 of her team's 6 shots. Her fingerprints all over this game thus far.
Well, JC, I was wrong, as it looks like a foul was called. And we are going to have a penalty kick.
Oh, look at that.
It's always tough to differentiate whether the official is signaling towards the dot or the goalkeeper for a goal kick, especially from up here. But the foul was called. Penalty kick to be taken by Justine Sharda. Whistle sounds. Here comes the penalty kick, and it is saved by the diving Villacrest, who guessed correctly, fully extending to her left to make a huge save.
You know, with that celebration, you would have thought that they scored a goal, CSI. No, they're congratulating their goalkeeper, keeping this game squared at 1. What an excellent save, diving to her left. That's a game changer right there.
What a save by the Dolphins keepers. That corner pinball is around in front. Getting a foot on it was CM Bella. Staten Island looks to clear, and they are able to send it over the far sideline. But Sarah Villacrest with a save on the PK, keeping us even at 1 per side, 7 minutes into half number 2.
All things considered, regardless of how this game ends, I think the MVP is between the pipes for the College of Staten Island.
As that one is over the head of Galan into a dangerous spot. This is Reagan. Reagan on goal off the crossbar, and it rebounds toward the far sideline, rolling into the corner. That one's crossed in once again onto the foot of CM Bella, and another save by Villacrest.
She's gotten help from her best friend, the crossbar, and she's made 2 excellent saves in this sequence. 9 shots on goal now. And let me tell you, she's earning her keep and then some.
It will be another corner kick for the Redhawks, and what a last couple of minutes it has been for them on the attack. The corner into the center of the box, rolls off the head of one player onto the foot of a Dolphin and over the touchline. It will be another corner kick.
Yeah, they appear to be flustered right now. I think at this juncture, once the ball is kicked in, just get the ball out of the zone. Kick it as far down the field as you possibly can. Get yourself a breather and reset.
Rosano takes the corner. That is off the body of Marr, and we will have another Roberts Wesleyan corner. The pressure stays firmly upon the Dolphins' defense and their goalkeeper, Villacrest.
Yeah, they're on the ropes right now, but this is where the real good players dig down deep and find a way out of it.
That cross cleared off the head of Jones Bush, and finally some relief for this Dolphins defense as Duca could not chase it down, so it will be a throw-in for the Redhawks.
Villacrest has been a one-woman army in this second half. Her play, superlative.
That ball rolls out toward midfield, sent toward the box by Cole. It rolls off the head of Galan, and Villacrest is there.
And she dives on it for good measure.
Certainly to buy herself a little bit more time.
Looking over her options, slowing things down, and rightfully so.
What a showing over the last couple of minutes by the Dolphins goalkeeper. 2 huge saves, bringing her total on the match up to 8. Her 3rd save of the half coming on that last shot, which saw her fully extend and get her gloves on it just beneath the crossbar.
Yeah, and for CSI, only 1 shot on goal since the 8-second mark of the game. And if we take a look at that 1 shot, they made it count with a goal. I think if they just... As Jacqueline D'Amico checks back in, only 1 shot since the 8-second mark of this game, but it was a goal, so you really can't say much about that, although you'd like some more offense.
Absolutely. At the very least, to keep the pressure off of Villacrest a bit. She's been worked hard, especially these last few minutes, but right now it is CSI with it moving into the attacking third as Voight Penson will give chase, but that ball is too long, and it will be a goal kick for the Redhawks.
Yeah, her play in net, very reminiscent of I'll use a hockey reference, like a Dominik Hasek or a Martin Brodeur. She has been phenomenal.
Goal kick taken short by the Redhawks. And sent out across midfield where Jones Bush is waiting to send it back the other way.
Or a Gigi Buffon.
Off the head of Levine. And speaking of goalkeepers, that Henrik Lundqvist retirement game, a very hot ticket here in New York right now as this is Reagan moving into the attacking third. Chance developing quickly for the Redhawks. She moves into the center of the pitch, and I think Pelinkovic might have gotten a piece of that.
Yeah, that ball was ticketed for the left corner, but it was slowed down, and the goalkeeper is able to play it and slow things down once again and reset for the Lady Dolphins. And to your point, Henrik Lundqvist night, I might be in attendance for that game.
Good luck, unless you have $600 to spare. Though you know the right guy.
Perhaps.
He's sitting right next to you. I'm a big tickets guy. As this is Reagan moving in. Avoids a pair of challenges. Squaring herself up with goal, and Villacrest makes the save yet again.
That's 10 saves now. I mean, this is my first game, but you tell me, have you seen in a men's or women's contest in recent memory, 10 shots on goal?
I've seen 10 shots on goal by the opposition. I'm not sure that I've seen this amount of saves in a match this season. I'd have to think back, but I don't think so. It would be at the very least 2 years ago, back in 2019, the last time we covered a full season of CSI Dolphins soccer. As there's a good ball playing Ciambella through. She crosses in front, and that is just one stride too long as Grande was in position. But that ball got by her without Grande being able to redirect. Big opportunity once again for the Red Hawks.
You know, we talked about golden opportunity after golden opportunity. Eventually, the Red Hawks did score a goal in the first half. I'm starting to get the same feeling as Rudnick checks in. I'm starting to get that same feeling.
CSI Dolphins, number 7, Shirley Hernandez.
You know, forget.
And number 9, Natalie Benitez.
You know, my analysis, forget about it at this juncture. We have to talk about that voice. 1 in a million.
Certainly is.
Such conviction.
Such enthusiasm.
Yes. But in all seriousness, though, we talked about their opportunities translating into glorious scoring opportunities. They did get that goal in the first half after peppering the defense. One may be brewing here in the second half.
Glorious scoring chances. I like it. I'll have to add that one to the list of adjectives. That's Rudnick able to keep it in along the touchline. Now Reagan looks to shoot. It is blocked by Evola. Second shot attempt is wide.
Yeah, I bet she's a goalkeeper. Very happy to see a shot go wide for once. She's been very busy in this second half, this whole game for that matter.
That last shot attempt was by Morgan Rosano that traveled wide, and that allows Villacrest to take some time to regroup as she has been under tremendous pressure here in half number 2, but through it all, and with 9 saves in the match, her team still finds themselves tied at 1, where 1 goal could put them ahead.
Yeah, definitely not how you draw it up on the chalkboard, being outshot 10-2, but the game is tied, and all it takes is 1 shot to swing the pendulum.
And there's no doubt this is a hungry Roberts Wesleyan team in search of their first win of the season. They played very well. There's a great ball for Rudnick, forcing Villacrest onto her heels, where she is able to make another diving save.
The penalty kick was remarkable, that save. This one was even more remarkable. Mark it down, that was the save of the game.
I think you're absolutely right about that, JC, as Villacrest was on her heels initially, was going to try and come out and meet that ball, but when she saw that Rudnick was in a position to get there first, she was forced back onto her heels, had to make the save from a very difficult spot, and she did just that with one hand on it, able to send it wide.
You know, Villacrest, I've never seen her play before with the exception of this past Wednesday. I'm sure she's a great goalkeeper, but I guarantee you that if you speak with her, she'll probably tell you this is one of her top 5 performances of her young career.
I think that's absolutely a fair assessment as the Dolphins look to muster some sort of attacking play off the free kick, but instead it is the Red Hawks headed right back in the other direction. That ball for Sindoni. She's met by Jones-Bush, and it's sent over the far sideline waiting for the ruling, and it will be a throw-in for Roberts Wesleyan.
You know, sometimes perception is not reality. 2 goals entering this game. Today, the Red Hawks with their third, 11 shots on goal. No, that is not a mistake on the scoreboard right there. 11 shots on goal, 4 corners on their docket as well. 2 shots for the Lady Dolphins.
That last shot on goal makes it double-digit saves in the match for Villacrest, and we still have over 29 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah, late registering that on the scoreboard, but 2 game-changing, season-type changing saves. The first on the penalty kick and the second coming not even 2 minutes later.
Big difference between 1-3 in the conference and 2-2 in the conference. And this game can swing the Dolphins in either of those directions. A win evens up their conference mark at 2-2. A loss drops them to 1-3, as we will have a CSI substitution. Emily Albano checks in for Nadia Evola.
It would be their second consecutive win if they're able to put up another goal on the scoreboard. But going back to our open and what we've seen thus far from the Lady Dolphins, I'm really looking for a Geno Como scoring chance and a Jones-Bush potential scoring chance. We've seen it all today, but I'm anticipating those two coming up big in the latter stages.
Well, Jones-Bush has already displayed her worth on the back line defensively and as a playmaker, sending the ball up the pitch and putting her teammates in a good position to score when she does. And right now, she's working in the back defensively as it's Como standing in front of Moyo. Here comes Pelinkovic. There's a good ball for Rodriguez. She has a lot of space in front of her. Also has Benitez, who was offsides. And that ball sent toward the corner, rolling into the corner.
Yeah, I really thought she was going to spring Jones-Bush as she glided right down the middle of the field. But like you said, chances are it would have been offsides.
Goal kick was taken short, and barely able to clear it out was Cole. That is Ciambella for Rosano. Rosano looking for Rudnick. Rudnick working against Marr. Rudnick shoots. It's off the fingertips of Villacrest and wide. That is save number 11 for the Dolphins goalkeeper.
You know, sometimes it's your skill that wins you the game. Sometimes a little bit of luck, too, is that ball just went off of her fingertips and squibbed wide of the net.
This corner kick for the Red Hawks will be number 5. Ball rolled in for Cole. Cole sends one toward goal. Villacrest could not get a hand on it, and it is over her outstretched arm and into the back of the net. What appeared to be an attempted cross is over the arm of Villacrest. She is beside herself after a series of incredible saves. That one gets by, and the Red Hawks take the 2-1 lead.
Sometimes it's the shots that you think have no business going in that does. Not her fault by any means. The only way you are making that save is if you're Andre the Giant.
What a tough break for the Dolphins and their goalkeeper, but that is a much-deserved goal for the Red Hawks, who have been dominating time of possession and have been all over the Dolphins on the attack here in the second half. They have had several tremendous scoring chances and a well-deserved goal for the visitors as they finally break through to take the 2-1 lead. The Dolphins will look to even up the score once again.
2 goals in 8 games on the season. 2 goals alone this morning into the early stages of the afternoon.
I was just about to say, JC, I can now comfortably say the afternoon as we approach 12:30 here at the College of Staten Island. And for the Dolphins, it will be a throw along the far sideline as they look for some semblance of attacking play here in the second half. We're now almost 20 minutes into the second half, and the Dolphins have hardly mustered anything on the attack, still looking for, I think, what would be their second shot of the half. They did have one early.
And you talk about only 2 shots on goal since the start of the game. Yes, one of them was a goal, but they can't rest on that. They need another one immediately.
As Voight Penson was looking for Garrett Comohendo, who's now at one of the forward spots for Staten Island. And Jordan Pullyblank will check back in for the Red Hawks. She will replace Morgan Rosano.
You know, speaking of the early afternoon, your level of I want a Slurpee was at an 11 out of 10 earlier. Is it still at an 11? Has it declined a little bit? Has it gone down, or is it still at an 11?
The truth is, my craving for a Slurpee is always on a scale of 1 to 10, well above a 10. But I have to restrain myself as we have another shot on goal as Villacrest is there waiting for it.
She's been dynamite. Don't let that last goal fool you. They have 14 shots on goal, the Red Hawks, and you know, like we said, they just kept coming and coming and coming, and you knew that at some point they were possibly going to score a goal, just not in the fashion that we saw just a few moments ago.
Certainly not one we expected to go in off the foot of Cole, but for Villacrest, after a series of remarkable saves, she just couldn't get a glove on that one as she fully extended up toward the crossbar, and it was just a perfectly placed shot attempt by Cole, which I originally thought was a cross attempt. And here come the Red Hawks in the attack once again. This is Sindoni. Sindoni beats one challenge, now moves toward the outside of the box and puts one into the top shelf over the outstretched arm of Villacrest, and the Redhawks have broken this game open. It's now 3-1.
Sindoni, her second goal of the day. Sindoni, her second goal of the day, her fourth shot on goal. She has been an absolute force for the road team today as they take a 3-1 lead with a shade over 23 minutes to play in the contest.
And we have a Dolphin down just outside of the box. I think that may be Jones Bush. And that was some move, dribbling, to set up that shot by Sindoni. And I think Jones Bush went down after she was beaten by Sindoni, and this does not look good as Jones Bush appears unable to walk off under her own power, having trouble putting weight on that left leg.
Yeah, I can only hope that she's okay. Whether or not she comes back out in the latter stages of this game, you just hope that she's healthy and she's not going to make it off on her own power. Can only hope for the best for this young lady who, as we've alluded to many times today, has been one of the Dolphins' best players in every facet of the game.
No doubt about it, JC. Is you hate to see this anytime, but if you're a fan of the Dolphins hoping to see CSI make a comeback bid, now trailing by 2 goals with 23 and a half minutes to play, Jones Bush is certainly a player you don't want to see leaving the pitch, especially with an injury. And
you know, if you're a young lady who, you know, you want to play soccer and you really want to make it big or just, you know, be a collegiate athlete, whatever the case may be, she's definitely the type of girl you want to emulate her style of play, and it's just a sin that she's, you know, limping on the sidelines right now.
Dolphins will possess it following the game's 4th goal. 3 of those goals belonging to Roberts Wesleyan. They lead 3-1 as we approach 23 minutes to play in the second half.
Yeah, never did I think at any point in time before this game started that I'd be looking up at the scoreboard and seeing the shots on goal, a very lopsided 15-2.
And I mentioned it during the pregame that a big issue for the Dolphins all year long has been their lack of scoring opportunities. But on top of that, they have also allowed many more scoring opportunities to the opposition. And today, the Redhawks have made the most of their chances. You could make the case that they could easily have more goals up on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, for Staten Island right now, you can't say the same as they only have 4 shots in the match.
Correct. And at minimum, going back to your point, at least 2, possibly 3. But Villacrest has been great despite allowing 3 goals. We have to touch on Sindoni. We talked about her being a catalyst at halftime, the new catalyst for this club. She has authored her 2nd tally and her 4th shot on goal in this half.
It's been a great day for Sindoni at the forward spot for this Redhawks team. There's no doubt about it. You said it, JC. She has been a catalyst on the attack. She's also been a facilitator when called upon, as the Dolphins' defense has swarmed her whenever given the opportunity to around the box. They know how dangerous she could be, as they saw in the first half. But despite that, she was able to beat 3 challenges and get that shot off and register the 3rd goal for this Roberts Wesleyan team. And right now, the Dolphins on the attack looking to pull within 1. And we said it before, JC, how important is it to go from a 2-goal lead, or I should say from a 1-goal lead to the 2-goal lead?
You want to talk about the wind being sucked out of your sails, especially when an insurance marker comes with approximately about 25 minutes to play. You're starting to feel down. All of that confidence that you've built in each of the last 2 games starts to wane. Let's try to see if they can author a comeback in the final stages.
Patine Voigt Penson, very dangerous, even from a long way out, as that one is sent into the box, and getting there was Knopf ahead of Komuhendo. But speaking of Voigt Penson, another player to potentially watch, we saw how dangerous she could be on free kicks early in the season against Felician University. Certainly someone who can put one on goal from a long ways out. And with the struggles the Dolphins have had generating scoring chances around the net, they might look to Voigt Penson to put one on goal from a distance and perhaps get them to within 1 in this match.
And you want to talk about finding your identity as the season progresses. You're starting to see new faces, fresh faces come to the forefront. Players that can provide you with so much more than just putting the ball on the net. We're talking about defense, a physical edge, a good chemistry. You know, you got to have good chemistry. like in the booth today, right?
Absolutely. For a first-time broadcast, I'd say we're handling ourselves pretty well.
Well deserving of a Slurpee or two, I'd say.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm always well deserving of a Slurpee, more deserving of a free hot pretzel come basketball season, as here comes Reagan charging past Pelinkovic. She moves into the box, and that shot is saved by Villacres.
You know, when you are looking at the box score at the conclusion of this game, or when you're having your Slurpee tomorrow, I'm not saying you per se, but if someone just happens to have a Slurpee, who knows, right? When you see 3 goals scored, you got to look a little deeper. Villacres has been the Dolphins' best player by far today, despite allowing 3 goals. The 16 shots on goal, you know what? You have to look at it and say, her performance is not indicative of the score. Because 3 goals, yes, that's a lot of goals to score, especially against a team who had only 2 entering today. But her performance has been top-notch, and I will not change my mind on that.
She is certainly not to blame for the Dolphins' 2-goal deficit. You see it up on the scoreboard here at Dolphin Soccer Park anyway. 16 shots on goal for Roberts Wesleyan College. Overall, 18 shots. So a very high percentage of their shots on goal as well. 8 out of 9 to this point in the game have been on target for the Redhawks. And once again, they possess the ball in the midfield as they really shut down nearly all of the Dolphins' attacking plays here in half number 2. It has been all Roberts Wesleyan.
Yeah, a bit enigmatic, these Redhawks. You know, early on, I don't mean to step on you. You can take that.
As we have a potential cross here, and it is blocked by D'Amico.
When we're going through their schedule, we've seen that, yes, the scores have been lopsided, going the other way for the Redhawks. But early on in the season, they were playing some very close games. Despite not being able to put one in the back of the net, they were playing very close games as opposed to the last few where they have been very lopsided affairs.
As we have 2 more substitutions coming on, it will be Jessica Savage and Stevie Lynn DeGori coming on for Roberts Wesleyan, and for Staten Island, it will be number 15, Sophia Espada, replacing Garrett Comohendo.
Yeah, as we see the substitutions coming and going, and I think I speak for everyone here at the field today when I say, how is this team 0-7-1?
I think that is a very fair question, JC, but they are now 17 minutes and 50 seconds away from changing that and getting into the win column for the first time, as that one's crossed into the middle of the box and into a very dangerous spot. But Espada was able to get there for CSI, and she lets it roll over the touchline as it will be a Dolphins goal kick. And if you're CSI hoping to get back into this game, now is the time as the clock winds down inside of 17 and a half minutes. The Dolphins need a goal quickly.
Yeah, as it winks down to 17, I think you're going to see a lot of home run passes trying to, like a pop fly in baseball, just settle in under it and try to, create an odd woman rush, if you will, 2-on-1, 3-on-2, or try to spring the woman down the field with a nice home run pass. I think the desperation is about to start to set in. I don't know with 17 minutes to go, but pretty soon you will see some long passes.
Dolphins have really had their best chances of the game off of the long ball coming from their back line, and Jones Bush was the one facilitating those opportunities. She's now on the bench with what appeared to be a knee injury, and of course we don't want to speculate, but it did not appear as if she would be able to come back in, especially with how little time is remaining. So the Dolphins really need to find a way to get their attack moving forward without the leg of Jones Bush, and the flag goes up from the lines judge for offsides.
Yeah, not only that, but, you can say she was coming off the field gingerly. It appeared a little bit worse than that because she had to be helped off by 2 individuals.
I'm not sure that was an offsides call, JC, as it looks like I have a correction to make, and it will be a foul against the Dolphins. So free kick for the Redhawks as we approach 16 minutes to play in the second half.
And we have a Lady Dolphin on the sideline looking to check in. That's number 13.
That is Castro. I believe for Castro it would be the second appearance she's made in today's match.
And number 11 to her left on the visiting squad looking to check in shortly as well.
That is Carly Tausch, who would also be making her second appearance. And here come the Redhawks as Savage moves in toward the corner, working against Voight Penson. Savage over to Polyblank. Polyblank with the cross, and Pelinkovic is there to meet it. Looking to clear. Sends it up in the air, headed by Como. And the Redhawks waiting for it in the midfield circle. Send it back to Galan.
And I think the Redhawks will be content with playing this style for the remainder of the game, as they know that they have their opponent on the ropes and desperation is setting in rather quickly.
This is Marr, able to dispossess the attacking player, but her pass is intercepted by Rudnick. Rudnick moving in toward the touchline, looking to cross, and it's bodied down by Galan, but that sets up a wide-open Gabrielle Ciambella, and her shot is wide.
A wicked shot wide left, and that could have been the icing on the cake for the Redhawks.
Well, JC, I absolutely thought it was going to be just that, as Ciambella was able to step right into that shot, got a lot on it, but it was wide. And we have Isabella Castro checking in for the College of Staten Island. I believe she was joined by another Dolphin as I try and get a look out on the pitch and see who that was. I think it may have been Benitez.
And looking on the sideline now, we have 8 and 10 from our squad, Evola and Donnie Duca.
That's correct, and coming off will be Solomon and Benitez. So Benitez did not just check in.
Evola, the lone goal scorer for the Lady Dolphins today.
Maybe it was D'Amico who checked in, as I try to figure out who it was that made that second Dolphins substitution. Anyway, CSI does possess the ball. This is Pelinkovic back to D'Amico. D'Amico for Castro.
You know, if all holds right here, I think these ladies, it's early enough in the day that they should celebrate with a well-deserved brunch on the way home.
Unfortunately, if they do celebrate, it won't be a victory should this score stand, but I'm sure there are plenty of places nearby for Roberts Wesleyan to celebrate a potential victory, leading by 2 goals heading into the final 13-20.
It's a long ride home to Rochester. Need to refuel.
Vilcrest to take the goal kick short. This is Marr as we wind down towards 13 minutes remaining in the game. Castro moving toward the near sideline. She is challenged by Tausch. Sends it up to Evola. Giving chase is Sharda. And Sharda sends it over the near sideline for a Dolphins throw.
Yeah, smart play. Just, play it safe. Sometimes playing it safe is death, but at this rate, up by 2 with 12 and change to go, just take the safe route, kick it out of bounds.
I think this is an attacking possession the Dolphins need to make the most of, and it will be another throw from a bit deeper in toward the corner. Dolphins still don't have a corner kick in this game, which is fairly remarkable now with only 12 and a half minutes to go.
Very bizarre considering how many corners we saw on Wednesday by the men and the women's team.
Throw in, received by Como. Como's pass was knocked away, and once again, Staten Island will throw.
Yeah, Redhawks doing a very good job of neutralizing the offensive heroes of the prior 2 contests for CSI.
That throw toward Espada, and off the deflection, D'Amico was there to send it back in toward the box. It travels over the touchline yet again for another Dolphins throw, taken quickly as Castro chips up in the air. It's off the foot of Duca. Redirected back to Duca by Rodriguez, and Duca is dispossessed. Here come the Redhawks on the counter. This is Savage crossing midfield with possession, gives it up, and sends the ball over to what looks like from here a number 23, and I do not have a 23 on the roster.
How about that? Well, on a lighter side of things, as we have our ball runner chasing it down. During halftime, I said, you know what, I got to do this once. This looks fun.
You're a much braver man than I am. I've done ball running one time, and I came off a public address to do it in the rain to give our first half ball runner a break, and I regretted it within the first 5 minutes.
Well, I will say this, of course, I'll be cognizant of the weather forecast before volunteering my services, that's for sure.
Certainly a good idea as the Redhawks continue to make substitutions. And Abigail Sindoni will check back in, and looks like number 23 is checking out. I'm not sure who that may be based upon my roster, so
yeah, she's not on at 23.
Can't help there. As
Unless
that
that's
is not
27?
A 3, it's a 7. It is a 7. So that's Stevie Lynn Diggory.
Yes.
There we go.
Junior defender.
Guess the number's not easy enough to read, JC.
Sometimes they'll fool you.
That's a long way, though. The far sideline is an entire pitch length, or pitch width, I should say, plus another 30 or 40 feet away from us.
Even the most pristine of visions will be challenged.
And mine certainly was, as that sent over the far sideline, and it will be another Dolphins throw with 10 minutes to play in the second half.
You have to wonder at what point where it all went wrong. Because you have a shot on goal, 8 seconds or so in. The second shot on goal resulted in a goal, but nothing since.
It seems to have gone wrong at the start of the second half, since the Dolphins, following the break, haven't really mustered any attacking play at all. And in the first half, the attacking opportunities weren't plentiful for CSI, but they were certainly there, as they may have an opportunity right here, and it was Como attempting the shot, but it deflected awkwardly off of her foot and well wide.
Definitely not plentiful, but a plethora for the Red Hawks, and they've cashed in. We see 3 on the board, and again, it could have easily been 4, possibly 5.
Goal kick upcoming for Roberts Wesleyan as we hit 9 minutes to play in half number 2. Time winding down on the College of Staten Island. Just hoping to pull themselves to within 1 and give them even a short-lived opportunity at an equalizer.
When I made the comment about, when the clock bled down to 17 minutes, when are you going to start seeing those home run passes, those chances that you normally wouldn't take over the course of a given game? I think now, under 10 minutes, is when you are going to start seeing those.
And there's one right there as Evola gives chase, and she's shielded off the ball by a pair of Red Hawks. It will roll over the touchline, but JC, if you look back just 1 week ago to last Saturday, the two teams, Queens and Staten Island, in the final 10 minutes of an ECC matchup, combined for 3 goals. 2 of those belong to the Dolphins. So we've seen them come up with a pair of goals late in a game quickly. Unfortunately, in that match, they were trailing, I believe, 3-1 when Queens scored another goal to make it a 3-goal advantage once again, and the Dolphins' final goal made it a 4-2 game, and that was ultimately the final.
So it's not unprecedented. It's happened, and it can potentially happen again. We'll see how the final 8 minutes unfold.
It's happened, and it has happened recently. So stay with us for the final 750 here on the ECC Network as the Dolphins and Red Hawks bring this ECC battle to a conclusion. This is Sindoni. She plays it into the middle of the pitch, but D'Amico was there for Staten Island. That ball for D'Amico a bit too long. Now an opportunity for the Red Hawks in the attack once again as Sindoni avoids that challenge, gives it up, and that ball sent toward the box, but it lands out of play.
As we said, hoping for Lightning to strike twice. They can draw inspiration from that last performance against Queens and from the men's team who rallied from a 1-0 deficit against Bloomfield last Wednesday at halftime.
7 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. Dolphins will work from their own penalty area, trailing by a pair.
And another streak on the line as well. The Dolphins, 2 goals in each of the last 2 contests. They're 1 shy of that, but they'll definitely be pressing for a 3rd straight performance of 2 goals a game.
Marr up to Rodriguez. Rodriguez working against Faso, and now this is Voigt Penson. She was looking for Duca. Getting a foot on that was a Red Hawk, and that slowed the attacking play down just a bit as Rodriguez sends it back to D'Amico. D'Amico up to Pelinkovic. Pelinkovic sends one up toward Evola, and that ball was going to be very dangerous, but a big play in the back to get ahead on it by Roberts Wesleyan, trying to get a number on that player who was able to get the head on it. Can't quite see from here.
A momentum changer. Was that number 10? I could be wrong.
As that ball sent right into the middle of the box, and it was up for grabs for just a moment. Roberts Wesleyan able to clear.
Yeah, that header could have prevented some disaster for the Red Hawks and will preserve their 2-goal cushion.
That was Diggory who got ahead on it in the box to save a potential shot opportunity by Evola. This is Reagan charging into the box. Avoids a pair of challenges and then sends one on goal that is saved by Villacrest.
Another point-blank save. She's made about, 3 or 4 of those on the afternoon?
If not more, and that brings the save total. I believe that makes 12.
18 total shots taken on the scoreboard as of right now.
Yeah, the scoreboard and our official stats with a bit of a discrepancy in the shot tally, so we'll have to go with the official stats on that one. And I have 14 shots on goal for the Red Hawks, 20 overall, and 11 saves for Villacrest.
Regardless, 14 or 18 or even 16 if it's somewhere in the middle, a great effort by our goalkeeper this afternoon.
Evola lined up over the ball to attempt this free kick, and this could be the last gasp for the College of Staten Island. They need a goal, and they need it quickly. Will this free kick bring them within 1? Here we go. Most Dolphins lined up along the top of the box. The free kick by Evola is saved by Knopf with 4:30 to play.
And that's the first shot on target since the goal that CSI put on the board to tie the game at 1.
Really remarkable as the first half between these two teams saw two sides that looked very evenly matched. And here in the second half, the Dolphins have been outclassed by the Red Hawks, especially in terms of attacking play and possession time. It has been all Roberts Wesleyan in half number 2.
Yeah, most definitely. And I can't emphasize this enough. I know I echoed these sentiments early on. This does not look like an 0-7-1 team by any stretch of the imagination. The way that they've played, the way that they've tilted the field, the way that they have generated scoring opportunities and have played defense. They're not just a one-trick pony today. They're playing both sides of the ball very well, very efficiently.
And they will throw in here with a 2-goal lead and 3:35 on the clock in the second half. As we will have another substitution, it will be Benitez for Espada.
So let's put this in perspective. Evola's goal for CSI came with approximately 13 minutes left to play in the first half, and the next shot on goal registered with
4:30.
Let's call it 4:30 left in the second half. They need more. They need a lot more.
Especially when you're behind by a pair, and they were only able to ride the tremendous play of their goalkeeper so far before the Red Hawks finally broke through and took a lead that they have not relinquished and show no signs of giving up. But there's a good ball for Duca. She's chasing it down with some space. And Duca is stifled, but will throw with 2:55 to go.
It's one of those home run passes. You're going to see a lot more of those in the final 250.
Her throw-in is headed away, but it winds up on the foot of Castro. Castro looks to send one into the box, but there are no Dolphins there. Como gets a body on it on the way down. Now Voigt Penson redirects for D'Amico. D'Amico moving in toward the box, maybe looking for a shot. Instead, she gives it up to Evola, receives it right back, and her shot is blocked.
They've been doing a lot of that today, especially on that free kick earlier in the first half that resulted in an injury.
Well, the Dolphins were awarded a free kick, and Evola had to have been at least 5 feet off sides. I'm not sure what she was looking to do there. Perhaps didn't realize it, but heads-up play by the Dolphins to take that free kick quickly and try and catch the Red Hawks napping.
Yeah, a little overzealous there, but, at this point of the game, you have to be a little greedy.
Como's shot is wide left, and that may have been the best Dolphins attempt of the second half.
Well, she has definitely been a force the last couple of games, and I believe we have a stoppage of play.
Here comes Ariel Solomon. That will likely end Bettine Voigt Penson's day. She's been on the pitch for most of this one. As Pelinkovic sends it to Evola. Evola looking for Solomon. Now Evola will shoot, and it's off the crossbar. Two Dolphins converging on it, and it is cleared away by Roberts Wesleyan. What an attempt by Nadia Evola as that cross attempt is sent out of bounds. And we have 1:13 on the clock. Dolphins still trailing by a pair. Almost pulled to within one with that shot,
Yeah,
JC.
Evola making her bid for her second goal of the game. It's the second post and or crossbar hit by the Lady Dolphins today. The first eventually resulted in a goal. This one, no dice.
1 minute remaining as that one was headed toward goal. And Solomon couldn't get a foot on it off the rebound. Here come the Red Hawks trying to bring this one to a close with a 2-goal advantage. They will send it out of play deep into the Dolphins zone down around the corner. Staten Island will throw in, but time has run out on the College of Staten Island. 35 seconds remain in this match with CSI trailing by a pair.
Just a great effort all around. When you're on the team bus going home, it's going to be a very happy and jovial ride back to Rochester.
Solomon giving chase for Staten Island. It's cleared away over the far sideline by the Red Hawks, and one last chance for Staten Island, potentially a long shot attempt coming, as Pelinkovic, certainly a candidate to try it, and her shot is high. So that will bring this East Coast Conference matchup to a close. A 5-game losing streak for Roberts Wesleyan is snapped. They pick up their first victory of the season to move to 1-7-1. As for the College of Staten Island, they drop to 2-8. 1-3 in conference play, but nonetheless, JC, a very entertaining game from start to finish. Advantage certainly belonged to the Red Hawks in the second half, but if you're the College of Staten Island, you can certainly take some things to build on from this match.
Definitely entertaining. I thought this game had a little bit of everything. Villacrest was by far, in my opinion, the best player on the field for both teams, but let's give credit where credit is due. Sindoni, 4 shots on goal, 2 goals. She was remarkable. And those are your 2 stars, as far as I'm concerned, on each side of the ball.
I think you're absolutely right about that, JC. It was a great day for Abigail Sindoni, who registered a goal for her team, and you mentioned it, 2 goals on the season for this Roberts Wesleyan team coming in. They score 3 against the College of Staten Island this afternoon. And referencing another point you mentioned in the pregame, for the first time in their last 3 matches, the Dolphins failed to score 2 goals. But after a series of shutouts against this Dolphins team, it's good to see them continuing to get into the goal column and playing another conference opponent very competitively.
Most definitely. And again, they got the ball rolling in the right direction. You talk about a shot on goal by Jenna Como 8 seconds in. They were able to get a goal relatively early in the contest. Again, their defense wasn't up to speed today. They had a crossbar late that would have given them a second tally. But if you're going to lose 2-1, 3-1, point is that they did not come out on the winning end today.
No doubt about that. It is a loss for the College of Staten Island in their 3rd consecutive conference matchup. The Dolphins dropped to 1-3 in the conference on the season, 2-8 overall, as I mentioned before. For the Red Hawks, this is their first win of the 2021 season.
Also, if I can add, let's hope that Macy Jones-Bush is okay. She had an excellent first half and sadly was injured and helped off the field in the second.
Well, I do see her on the bench. Doesn't look like she's putting weight on that left leg, but certainly looks better now than she did exiting the pitch. So we hope that she is good to go for the Dolphins' next match. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman. And for my first-time partner, John Carl Ziegler, we thank you for watching. Once again, our final score, 3-1, as the Robert Wesleyan College Red Hawks defeat the College of Staten Island. Our next broadcast will be on Wednesday.